So the auction starts and it says 20,000 euro and I bet 22 and nobody else bets 24. So I get the piece for 22,000 euro.
Hello and welcome to Sprinkle. Today we're talking with Jason Nazmiyal, who is the leading expert on antique rugs. So we're going to hear his story about how leaving Iran in the late 70s and the revolution has led to him owning his own showroom in prime location New York with over 3,000 rugs and pieces by Picasso and Andy Warhol in it. So he's going to talk about what makes him such a world expert on the subject, some deals that brought him particular joy, and his opinions about the future of the antique rug industry. So stay tuned for all of that and more. And whether you're buying or selling, if you're in the market for anything luxury, whether it's private jets, a villa in Miami, or anything rare and special, head to sprinkle.com. You can browse our listings and start real conversations with verified buyers and sellers today. For now, I bring you Jason Nazmiyal. Jason's is a classic story of someone starting with nothing and through sheer hard work building themselves up to an incredible situation. So first he told us the story of his move to New York and what started the business in the first place.
I came here on 79, right after the revolution in Iran. And I was a student at the American University in Washington, D.C. So after the revolution, the currency got devaluated tremendously in Iran. So my dad's lifetime saving was going for one semester of my education. So from then I started working busboy, pumping gas, and you name it, anything I could. And then one spring break, I come to Long Island, New York to visit my aunt. My cousin tells me that, I'm going to New Jersey to deliver 2 rugs, which he was in rug business. And would you like to come with me? And naturally, he wanted a schlepper to help him out to lay down the rugs. So I said, okay. So we went to Short Hills, New Jersey. He sold 2 rugs.
But how did Jason get from this one-off job to a business?
And then as we were driving out, he said, Short Hills, New Jersey is the best part of New Jersey and it's the wealthiest area. Would you be interested to open up a shop with me? And we saw an empty store. They're very small. And naturally, I was sort of semi-desperate. I said, of course. So that's the way it started. So we got a small store on Milburn Avenue in Short Hills. And 44 years later, I have over 4,000 pieces of antique rugs. Possibly our website is the most dominant in the industry. And we build up a good name and good credit.
The key to building this good credit is the information that you provide to your potential buyers.
We have over 100,000 pages of contents and material. I believe in education and the trust that people build in your business is all how much you know about what you're talking about. And if you stay on my website, you could spend days and study and learn about this industry. And our traffic base, it's tremendous. We get national and international customers, and our inventory is growing every day.
And this in turn has led to Jason setting up as an auction house.
In the last auction, we had over 1,600 registered individual with their credit card on file. So that's doing phenomenal also.
One of the themes we're going to come back to again and again through this conversation is the value of Jason's knowledge. And the reason he's a world expert is because he knows so much about rugs. So we were quite curious to understand how much he knew when he first started, from this point that his cousin asked him for his help with this job.
Nothing, absolutely nothing. I was a student, like you imagine, 20 years old, 21, and then 22. Never worked before either, We got to a point that our shop was open 9 to 9, 7 days a week, Sundays 11 to 6. And the American dream, you had to work hard to establish and get yourself going. And gradually my brother joined. So me and my brother stayed partner for the first 20 some years of doing business. We opened up stores in New Jersey, and then gradually my brother and I, we got separated, and he's very successful on producing new things, and I stayed with mostly with antique carpets.
But where did Jason actually source his information? Well, he tells us that it was a process of trial and error guided by this constant desire to always acquire only pieces that were special or unique.
When you had to buy something, you learn now, and when you sell it, you learn even more. So it's a true experience through the years, but my inventory varies from early textile you see back of me to like 1920s art decos. My taste diversifies so much in variety of different looks and designs, but every rug that I buy, it has to be unique and special. I don't buy rugs because they're cheap or they are common. So I found something special with the rugs. And when you have 4,000 rugs and mainly good antiques, not every piece gets you excited. So you establish a taste and you knowledge to know what's more unusual and more unique. So I believe our inventory right now is possibly one of the best inventory of antique rugs in the world.
But what does make a rug special?
Something that I don't have or I haven't seen. That would be like phenomenal. Like said, like when you have like let's say serape rugs, and I have over 60 of them, and I've sold 600 of them through my life. And my inventory always evolving, getting better. And for that many years, whatever I sold, I tried to buy better pieces. And when you see something that you haven't seen, a color harmony or a design that it's more unusual, not necessarily being unusual is pleasant. When it's pleasant, then it's unusual. And that's the excitement that I get. And that's the best part that is keep me going, because I'm a hunter. And antique rugs are all individual. And whoever gets to it first or see it first is the winner, because there's no other one that you're going to make the same thing. So it's only one. And to have that the special pieces is important.
Here he talks a little bit about how he sources his rugs.
And through the years, we establish a good name and good paying credit. So a lot of smaller dealers, when they come across anything special, they send me the images. And, I work with so many different associates from Paris to London to Milan to Turkey to Dusseldorf. And I have so many associates that they go to different places and look for special pieces. And also, I'm a hunter. In the morning, I search all the websites in the world, all the auction houses in the world, to find something special and different. And when you find something special and different, that's the excitement, And the more exciting is when it comes to the shop and you paid for it and you own it, and then you say, oh, it's well worth it,
At Sprinkle, we especially love stories, and so I couldn't resist asking Jason for specific stories of rugs that he hunted for a long time, or that gave him a really good feeling when he finally got his hands on them.
Yeah, actually, I have many stories, but one story that I could tell you is like in 1980s. I always wanted to see better pieces, and I wanted to learn more. So I always follow good collectors with their books. And so I was trying to train my eyes and establish a taste and direction. But at that time, I couldn't afford to buy like antique pieces, And I remember in early 80s, I went to Sotheby's auction, and I fell in love with Israeli rug, Basalel, which was They captured it's a Basalel is a school of art in Israel, and not that many people know about it because the production is so limited. But that rug was so phenomenal, so beautiful, and the estimate was something like $20,000 to $30,000. And that time, to pay 20,000 plus 25% was out of the question for me. But I love that rug, and it was very special. And the day of the auction, I think it sold for like 45 or $50,000. And I always kept it in my mind.
But then it was another 10 years before it resurfaced.
And then 10 years, 15 years after that, the rug came out in one of the auctions in Christie's, New York. And it was extremely similar, and I loved it the same way. The same, like, rug of the Basalel came to the auction, like, I would say 15 years ago. And at that time, then now I could afford to buy anything I want. So I love the rug, and I said, you know what? Nobody loves it more than I do, so I'm going to buy this rug. So the estimate was 20,000 to 30,000 again. And the auction started, and I never forget, I found myself betting $85,000 for the rug, and somebody bet 90,000. And I'm freaking out, and I'm like literally like so disappointed because I said by $90,000 with 20%, 25% over that for the commission, it becomes ridiculously expensive. Who am I going to sell it to? So if I tell you, for a week I was sick because I really loved the rug, but I didn't buy.
But after this disappointment, we really see the value in patience and maybe even trusting to fate.
So that passed by, and 4 or 5 years ago, there was an auction in Amsterdam, if I'm not mistaken, Christie's Amsterdam, and the same similar thing comes up to the auction. And this is a very unusual piece because it's a 9x12 size, which is very rare for Basalel kind of rugs. And the design wasn't Art Nouveau, but it had Art Nouveau style into it. But the color harmony was out of this world. So this time comes in, I said, no one in the world gonna get this time. The estimate was 20,000 euro again. And, I swear, I closed the door. I was holding the table like this. I said, it doesn't matter how many millions of dollars it's going to go. I'm going to get this truck. I love this truck for that many years. So the auction starts, and it says 20,000 euro, and I bet 22, and nobody else bets 24. So I get the piece for 22,000 euro.
So Jason was rewarded for his patience with an incredible deal. But what happened next to the rug?
I'm so excited. And then at that time, I used to supply Christie's and Sotheby's a lot. At that time, Christie's and Sotheby's, I was one of the main suppliers of the rugs for their auctions. The lady who is the director of Christie's New York City came to the store, and I said, did you know about the rug that sold in Amsterdam? She goes, no, which one? I said, this Basalel rug. She says, oh, yeah, I sold this rug 10 years ago in my auction. I said, what? And she says, this is the rug. It was in Sotheby's 10, 15 years ago. I said, oh, my God, for that many years. She was telling me this is the same rug that it was in her auction, and then before that it was in Sotheby's auction. Like, we were freaking out that it was destiny, and I was willing to pay, I don't know, $100,000 for it, and I got it so cheap. She says, oh my God, you got it so cheap, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. So we got the rug. We were excited for the rug to come from Amsterdam. So finally, we get the rugs comes into the showroom. The day that the rug comes in the showroom, we had a designer in the showroom looking for her customer for different rugs. And I was so excited about that piece, and I couldn't wait anymore. So like I on the side, and I went and I opened up the rug. The minute I open up the rug, she goes, "Oh my God, this is a perfect rug for my customer." So I didn't even have it for 2 days. So she says, "This is a perfect rug for my." I said, "No, no, no, no." She goes, "No, my customer collects chairs and like expensive chairs." He was a and still that customer is one of my best customers. He was a lawyer for Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and where they found the oil in Kazakhstan, and he was representing them. So he became super millionaire so fast, and he loved chairs, and he used to collect chairs. And that rug went to his office, and with all the chairs, and literally, I told him the story about that piece also. So he stays close to my heart because he has one of my best pieces. 30 years I had my eyes behind that rug, and I didn't own it for 2 days.
Remember, whether you're buying or selling, if you're in the market for anything luxury, whether it's a private jet or a villa in Miami, or anything rare and special, maybe an antique rug, make sure you head to sprinkle.com, where you can browse all of our listings and start serious conversations with real, verified buyers and sellers today. Right, back to our conversation with Jason. So here we started talking about the nitty-gritty of running the business, and in particular, how he made decisions and how he used the internet to grow his business.
I buy 1.5 rugs in average a day. So I buy every day. And I buy with my heart and my soul. If my heart and soul tells me to buy, because there's no school that like a paintings that says, okay, this is Frankenthaler of 1960s, and she's the first generation abstract expressionist. The size of this one compared to the other side. So there's no documentation with the rugs. It's whatever you feel is right price for it. That's what you do. You pay compared to the other pieces. If I love it, if it triggers me, if it's something special about the piece, I buy it. Sometimes I love the rug for $30,000 and I hate it for $40,000. So I pass because I know it would be too expensive for my customers to have it. So I want to make sure that, when I buy something, I could pass on good prices to my customer, even though certain good pieces don't have a set price, because like you could have of an antique Persian Sultanabad, the size 10 by 14 for 5,000, and you could have another one for 50,000. The difference is the color harmony, how unique it is, and how much you know about it. And that's what it makes a difference. That's the reason most of our sales goes to interior designers, because they always know that they could find something unusual and special in my shop.
Jason not only uses this information to spot a really good deal, but also leverages all of his knowledge to build his reputation by having a really comprehensive website. Basically, it's the authority on antique rugs on the internet.
Listen, when 24 years ago, I was selling rugs online, people were laughing. Oh, at that time, rug industry was like a gimmicky, going out of businesses, and the people did not trust others, And when people, especially even dealers, were saying, "Oh, who buys rugs online? They want to touch it, they want to see it." And I was laughing inside. I was selling 2 rugs to Australia, and they had to wire transfer the money to my account in advance of me shipping the rugs. So, like, to ask someone, trust the rug dealer, the other side of the world, transfer the money first before you see it. So it requires a lot of the infrastructure and building the credibility. From the beginning, I was a good soldier for Google. I picked up the mentality of Google. Why you trust your GPS? You're in, let's say, Madrid, and you want to go to Marbella, and you put it in GPS. It tells you exactly how many miles you go, and you make a right, and you go to another route, and you go straight for 6 miles. You trust that. If it tells you go straight for 6 miles, but you go for 6 miles, you go to dead end, you're not going to go to that GPS anymore because it sends you to a wrong place.
So in essence, we see that Jason was like an early adopter of content marketing, building trust with your customers by giving them all of the information they need for free before making some kind of a deal.
So the trust that you build up in GPS is the same way that I build up for my customers trusting me and seeing what they see on my website. I learned to be a good soldier. So I try to be the most relevant to the inquiry. If you are searching for anything, imagine for antique Persian rugs, antique sultanabad antiques, anything that you search for, I try to give you the most comprehensive answer to your inquiry. So I became the GPS of the rug industry. So if you had to go from A to B to learn about Bakhtiari rugs, I was giving you all the explanation to Bakhtiari rugs and then giving you all the elements of the colors, designs, pattern, and the history and culture. And then you become the most relevant to the inquiry. And then we saw opportunity for Wikipedia, because Wikipedia was growing also. And then we started messing with Wikipedia. We were making things for Wikipedia. So if you were searching anything, Wikipedia was giving you the answer. Then we said, wait a minute. Then Wikipedia was beating us on our website because Wikipedia is much more stronger, more credibility than Nazmiyal. So we stopped beating Wikipedia from then on, and then we continue supporting our website. And then I think right now our website is the most complete, and it became sort of a standard of industry. There is no rug dealer in the world that doesn't know about us. There's no rug dealer in the world that doesn't copy the standards of how we are doing. Some of them doing it better, some of them are doing it different, but every single of them, they copy what we have done with the images, with the description, with the mentality behind it, and the way the business is being run.
And Jason has verified himself that he really is, as he puts it, the GPS of the rug industry.
If you go to Chat GPT, and I was having good time with asking the question. I asked who has dedicated more in the last 40 years for antique rugs. It came up to my name. I asked who is the most well-trusted name in antique rug business. It came back to my name. And I'm freaking out at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I say, okay, I'm accomplished already. I'm done already. And then I keep asking more, and everything comes back to my name. So one way I'm very fortunate that I was in that truck with my cousin. That's the destiny that, it changed my life. And a lot of times when I talk to my cousin, I curse him that it was because of you I got into this business.
All of this puts Jason in a unique position to be able to spot the trends and understand movements in the industry. So I asked him about this in a bit more detail.
It's very hard to predict the trend because we are so national and international. And trust me, New York City, it's next to New Jersey. And what sells in New York is completely different than New Jersey. So the designers and trendsetters have a lot to do with it. But in general, I would say the fashion and trends in the last 10 years been towards minimalistic and subdued colors and literally no colors. But nowadays, I'm beginning to see colors. So I see colors coming back. I should say that I'm very grateful that I see that because I have 4,000 rugs with colors. Usually new designers or younger designers who are not so focused and understand the world of antique, it's a lot easier for them to get a very monochromatic, neutral tones carpet for the floor, and usually custom made, and then work around it. But more sophisticated designers and interiors and architects who the ability to coordinate colors together and design together. And they have the understanding of antique naturally, even though using antique rugs in their modern designs, and it's a touch of uniqueness and individuality that it makes them different than everybody else. Because if you search for modern rugs, after like 15 minutes, all of them look alike. Don't see anything different. But if you search for antique rugs, everyone is different. They have to adopt colors in their designs, which I am seeing a lot more with that than ever before, at least for the last 10 years.
So while Jason's passion for rugs really comes through in all of our conversations and is the reason why he's been able to spend so many hours accumulating this knowledge, I was also curious whether business more generally was always something that interested in. Like, back in 1979, did he have some innate drive to run his own business?
I was a busboy in a restaurant, and in that restaurant, I had to compete with one Spanish guy, which he was phenomenal. I mean, he could have hold the tray on his hand and fills it up with all the glasses and all the dishes, and this was a big tray. And I've never been a busboy, and I had to compete with this guy who was phenomenal, so it was a very difficult time for me to survive. It was an opportunity. I knew that whatever it is, I'm going to put my 100%. The same way I'm doing it right now. I mean, I'm putting my 100% in today's business, the same way I did it, 40 some years ago. And I think if you have good deeds and you work hard, it pays back, I don't think anybody accomplished anything that easy. So you have to put hours in it. Now I see my son, he works for a private equity and he's 27 years old. And, he's up 24 hours working so hard, and then he goes to work and he comes back and works again. And the same thing, when you're young and you're ambitious and you want more, you just do the right things, It's like whatever in your gut's feeling. And I don't think anybody gets anywhere unless you grow up with a silver spoon in your mouth. But America is a land of opportunity. And you come here and you could work as hard and you could do or say anything you wish. But if you work hard, it pays back. And I think the opportunity comes for everyone.
Was it always destined to be antique rugs? Like, what would Jason be doing if it weren't rugs?
Maybe that was an opportunity for me. But in all honesty, I collect abstract expressionists like paintings. And, when I got a little bored with rugs because I couldn't find rugs that I like. So I started buying abstract expressionists. And if I had the choice right now to go to which business, I wish I would have gone to abstract expressionist because there's a lot more money into it. You balance it out of what you gain. Like, I have 4,000 pieces that I'm so proud of, every single of them. I could have had 4,000 paintings, and there is a big difference. But your destiny is pretty set the way you do things. And my destiny was to be with my cousin at that time in a truck. And we saw an empty store. And he says, you want to open up a shop here with me in Shorty's? And the store was 750 square foot, 75 meter. It was very small. It had a green grass on the floor. So it was like an outdoor grass carpet on the floor. For the first year or two, I was selling carpet or learning carpet on a green grass carpet. And the walls were stucco. It's a long way from Short Hills, New Jersey. Right now, thank God, we do tremendous sales nationally, internationally. And, we have the chance to sell 190 rugs in 3 hours in our auction. I don't think there is 1,500 buyers in the world that are looking for rugs. In the last auction we had 2 weeks ago, we had 1,648 registered names, which is unheard of. Like, there is not that many buyers in the world that exist, and they all get the credit card number, with their credit card.
So as you can imagine, Jason is very busy, and I only had time for a couple more questions. I really wanted one more story of a particular rug that brought him joy, but first I asked him what the best and worst things were about running his business.
I would say the best thing is definitely buying, because it's such a good feeling, You could go to Paris and, go to the shops and buy anything you like. So definitely buying it's the most phenomenal pleasure that I could buy anything I love. The worst part of it is pushing, because constantly you want to improve and do better, and especially on our website and the glitches and the problems that you run into. That's the worst part, because I'm to a point that I'm getting tired, because I've been working hard every day, and I think I'm getting ready, and I didn't want my kids to come to the business. I think the worst part is working hard, just because when you're 20s and 30s, you don't mind working hard. But when you're 60, it's a little more difficult.
And finally, another story about a rug that Jason was particularly happy to own and to find. And here we really see his personality come through and how he thinks about business.
I bought a very special ushak from Sotheby's. It was beautiful. It was 14 by 24, big size, very good condition. It was beautiful. It came from a state, and it was a major auction. And I bought it for $3,000, $3,000 or $4,000, $4,000. I couldn't believe it. I was freaking out. All the dealers in the world were watching it. Nobody knew what they were seeing. It was a 17th century ushak, magnificent. When I sold it for $120,000 to the customer, I told that customer, you were stealing it from me, even though I bought it for $4,000. So I made sure that the customer knows that I bought it for $4,000, but giving her that piece for $120,000, I said, this is a $500,000 rug, because I bought it so cheap, I'm passing it on to you.
So the final takeaway message really is that good inventory is only as useful as the knowledge that you bring into the business as well.
So there's so many things like that, because the knowledge, it's important. And, that's the way I make money, because probably I know more than the person I'm buying it from, or I have experience of selling it, so I could get more money for it. There is a dealer in California, in Los Angeles, and this dealer, he was one of my best buyers when I was wholesaling and I'm supplying the auction houses. And he has tremendous amount of inventory, but his inventory is dead. Nobody knows about it. His website is not strong. And, nowadays, it used to be if you have a store 5 miles radius, they support you. Right now, if you have a store 5 miles radius, it's everybody's customer. They're not just going to local dealer. He's not doing any business because he doesn't have a website that's strong enough, but he has the most phenomenal inventory. He and I were talking to see how we could merge his inventory with my inventory, because he doesn't have exposure. I think this business is a phenomenal business, but unfortunately, fashion and trend has a lot to do with it. And I hope the fashion and trend gears more towards color. And I'm seeing it now more so than ever.
Thank you so much again to Jason Nazmiyal for giving us all of his time and his wisdom on the subject. And remember, if you have luxury items that you're looking to find buyers for, then head over to sprinkle.com and create yourself an account. And thank you again for listening to this episode of Sprinkle's podcast.